Welcome back, everybody, to episode 3 of the What's He On About podcast. Boy, it's been a great couple of days for England. 2-0 up in the T20 Series, a return to the IPL for the GOAT Jimmy Anderson, and Australia get rolled by Pakistan. So grab yourself a snack, a drink, and as you're maybe having a walk, having a drive, have a think to yourself, what is he on about? Starting off with England's T20 triumph so far in the series. We're 2-0 up. 2-0 up. Salt and Butler have been firing, and some of the bowlers as well. Saqib Hamid has been going mental up there. So it's been a great few days for England. Let's begin with Joss Butler. He's returned to the side from injury. He's had a frustrating time as his captaincy continued from the side. And it was a hell of a return, wasn't it? Walking out to bat, everyone was thinking, here comes Joss Butler in the first T20. What's he going to show off? He's out first ball. So off he went back to the pavilion, only to come out the next day and knock 83 off 50. And yeah, Joss Butler back to Joss Butler things. Great captaincy. He has listened and talked to Brendan McCullum about what he should do with the gloves, and he's decided to give up the gloves, give them to Phil Salt, because just as Brendan McCullum did in his career, Brendan McCullum gave up the gloves and felt that his captaincy could do better close to the bowler in the outfield, and that's what Joss Butler's done, and it's proving well. He took an absolute stunning grab in the first T20 at slip, so he's clearly not weighing the fielding side down at all. Phil Salt, first batter ever to hit 300s in T20s against the same opposition in international cricket. He shows us every day, keeps surprising us how good of a player he is. He's versatile. He can hit big shots, and you can just see the talent from his last innings. Just didn't stop. Despite a little minor collapse at the other end, Phil Salt just kept on ploughing through and put out a great innings. Just as he showed in the ODI squad, he has properly secured himself in Brendan McCullum's future side as he takes over in January. So Phil Salt and Joss Butler look to be the core of this top order moving forward. Speaking of top order, Jacob Bethel is showing great signs. We talked about how confident he's looking. And that 58 nod out in the first T20, didn't see much of him in the second one, just because he got a little nod out at the end. But I was so impressed with Bethel, so impressed. There's been two quick wickets. Joss Butler going in ahead of him. He's probably thinking he's not going to be needed for a bit. Out first ball, Joss Butler in the first T20. And Bethel just plays a beautiful, he looked like he was experienced, 20 of 20 for the first balls. Just getting Phil Salt back on strike. He knows his role. He comes in, saves a little bit of a collapse. Don't want to be 3 down too quickly. And Bethel then kicks on at the end, makes Salt's life easy. Salt can get to his 100 and Bethel clears up the remaining runs and gets to 58 off 30 odd deliveries. Beautiful knock from Jacob Bethel, and he is really stamping down a claim to say to Baz, to McCullum, to maybe Stokes, to say I should maybe be in the test squad. He's really showing great signs, confidence at the crease, as we talked about last episode. Jacob Bethel is seriously looking good. Also looking good, Saqib Mahmood. It's really surprised me. I genuinely did not think he was going to be too impressive in the T20 stuff. He showed a little bit of decent bowling in the ODI he played, but talk about key wickets. I mean, there's not been many great bowling performances on either side, and he's really stood out as a top bowling performer. And he as well, just like Bethel, he's inexperienced, and he's just showing why he should be in this team right now, because it's proved that we haven't found it easy to go to West Indies in the past, and a lot of these lads are really, really showing that they should be here for longer. On the other side of the coin, Will Jacks. I've seen him in the T20 Blast. I know his class. I've seen him tear apart sides alongside Aaron Finch or Jason Roy, whoever he played with. And he will fire. They have to give him time. I've had a look at his ODI. There's 50 over stats compared to his T20, and I think it's unheard of that someone could have higher batting average in T20. He's got a higher average in T20 than in 50 over cricket. I think that's astounding. You get hardly any time to bat compared to 50 overs, and he's averaging higher in the shorter format. So, he's shown what he can do in the 100. He's shown what he can do in the T20 Blast, and I think it's only a matter of time before he maybe gets a flat deck in St. Lucia as we move across for the last three T20s. And Will Jacks will go well. Absolutely. He just needs a little bit more time. I really hope they don't drop him because he needs it. But it's been a great first couple of T20s for England. And as we look forward, we know Will Jacks is going to fire. Hopefully, England can get this done. Hopefully, they only need one or two more T20s, and then we can maybe see the likes of John Turner or Jaffa Jahan to come out and bowl some Jaffas, as we looked at in the first episode of the podcast. Um, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few T20s. I think England have won both the last two tosses in the T20, have chased both times. And it's clear that, especially in Barbados, those first few overs of the first innings were very tricky for the batters. Saqib Mahmood had some great wickets in those power play overs. And it's clearly been a toss to win over the first two T20s. So it'll be really interesting looking forward, just seeing how the game might change if West Indies win the toss and choose to chase. And obviously, we don't know what it looks like at St. Lucia just yet. So it'll be really interesting to know what kind of a pitch we're going to play on out there, whether it's going to be quick, fast, roads, or whether it's going to be a little nibbler, a little slow track. So West Indies needs to win the next toss, and hopefully it's a favourable toss to win. This series has been very much batting team versus batting team, and as you can see quite clearly, England have outbatted West Indies. They've outbatted them. Both teams have got strong lineups. West Indies, Andre Russell, he's a big lad. I saw him. I think first ball I watched of him, Liam Livingstone bowls a pretty good length ball, spins a lot. Andre Russell, stand and deliver. He just slaps it. He just slaps it straight over Livingston's head. The camera pans up and the ball just goes over the top of the stand. And talking of big sixes, it was a great welcome for Dan Mosley into the T20 international setup. He bowled his first ball to Paran, the West Indian middle order batter. And Paran thought it would be nice to welcome him by launching him into the fourth tier first ball. So poor old Dan Mosey had to recover from that one. But Paran's another example. West Indies are a good batting lineup. Hetmar hasn't popped off yet. Paran, he's got a few 30s. Same with Andre Russell in the first T20. Got to 30, but didn't capitalise. And West Indies have got some great batters that showed, we got King and the other opener who is firing at the minute in the 50 over in the 50 over stuff, but he couldn't quite transfer it into the T20s. So if West Indies can maybe bat second and bat well, I think they could cruise a T20 just as England did. So maybe it's a toss to win. It's a game of batters v batters, and England's batter has been the difference so far. Alzarri Joseph returns from his blow up. It'll be interesting to see if he can get selected again. Whether the selectors think that his two-match ban is enough for the vice captain steaming off the pitch after being unhappy with the field placement. So if Alzarri Joseph comes back in, that could be the turning point. He's shown he can play in the IPL. He's played very well in the Caribbean Premier League. He's been a key T20 bowler for West Indies for the last few years. He's still quite young, and maybe he could be the difference if he comes back and England have a few issues. Alzarri Joseph could steam right back into it and blow up again, but I imagine he's probably thoroughly enjoyed his 2 games off, seeing how absolutely miserable he always looks on the pitch or angry. So Alzarri Joseph could be coming straight back in. So hopefully England can get that sorted pretty quickly. I think it will. I think England will win one more T20. I could see West Indies winning the next two or the next one in St. Lucia, different conditions. West Indies will know them well, obviously, but England will win one. And I think, despite my previous predictions of England getting rolled in this series, I think England should go over the line because their batters are firing and the West Indies aren't. But I wouldn't be surprised if West Indies come back. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, Australia. Oh, but I kind of feel bad for them a little bit. Kind of feel bad getting rolled in Pakistan. They're a bit cocky after the first ODI. Got a bit ahead of themselves. Thought they could do it. They can do it anywhere. You know, if we can do it in Pakistan, we can do it anywhere. And then proceeded to lose the next 2 ODIs by 9 wickets and 8 wickets. And it's very Australian-like, isn't it, to have a big tournament coming up in a certain country, and then Australia somehow managed to get an away 50 over tour in the place where the tournament is being hosted. So Pakistan are hosting the upcoming Champions Trophy, and Australia have found themselves in Pakistan having a few warm-ups. It's funny how that always works out. But yeah, unfortunately for Australia, as much as we really like them over here, no player made a 50 in the 3 ODIs. And maybe it's worth giving Davey Warney a call up. Maybe he's needed. Maybe he could be the remedy to solve all Australians' batting problems. Who knows? But Australia don't look too good at the minute. Pakistan, who got rolled by England a few weeks ago, suffering against Australia. So bring back Davey Warney, I say. Well, a final few things. Jimmy Anderson, return of the GOAT to the IPL. I wonder who'll pick him up. I rather worry that we'll be seeing the greatest of all time, Jimmy Anderson, picking his ball out of the stands as his good length migrates to slot and his swing migrates to straight deliveries. And he hasn't been bowling T20 very often. And I tell you, if you go over to the IPL, I could see him getting absolutely launched at all parts. So all the best for Jimmy. I hope he does well. But I could see Rohit Sharma or the likes of Andre Russell seriously teeing him up and sending him out of the ground. Could so see that happening. Finally, more recent news. Um, it sounds like it could be India having a little cry post getting battered by New Zealand for the first time, getting whitewashed 3-0. What a series that was. But India have said to the ICC that in the upcoming Champions Trophy to Pakistan, India will not be travelling. Yes, so India have thrown their toys out the pram and have said to ICC, we're not coming. I know there's obvious history between India and Pakistan, and I can see why maybe they don't want to go out there. However, something's got to happen, and I'm sure the Champions Trophy will be resolved, and they will not be leaving out India. I can reassure you of that. So that's been the last few days of England cricket and the world of cricket, as we love to discuss here on this podcast. And I hope you enjoyed your snack and the podcast, and look forward to seeing you next time. So I hope the almighty question was answered as you asked yourself during this podcast, what is he on about? Cheers.